I used to think that if I was patient, loving,
À đây quên đi dép. Chết mẹ. Chị lấy đôi dép phát. Mệt quá. Không đậy xe à? Thế á?
Tại lúc đến không mua.
and tried hard enough, my husband would eventually change. But it took me 10 years to realize that some people do not change simply. Because of your love. They only change when they decide to do so themselves. I met my husband when we were both very young. Back then, he was a cheerful, charming man who promised to give me a happy family. The early days of our marriage were truly beautiful. That was until he started gambling.
Trời. Nhức đầu. Cô ơi, nhà cô có bột chiên tổng hợp không cô?
At first, it was just small bets. He would tell me,
cháu nửa cân. Cho cháu cả gói bột phô mai nhá.
I'm just playing for fun. Don't worry. I believed him.
Bao tiền cô nhỉ? Thế cả bột phô mai là bao tiền?
Then, those times of playing for fun turned into nights. Where he wouldn't come home until 2 or 3 in the morning. Whenever I asked him about it, he would fly into a rage. I began to fear my husband.
Bà ơi, bà bán túi bóng à?
Once, he lost a huge sum of money.
Ở bên này à? Cô bán túi bóng à cô ơi? Con chào túi bóng đen một yến.
When he got home, he smashed my phone and slapped me right in front of our children.
30.000 cái cá tôm này.
I clutched my face, frozen in shock.
Con chào 30.000.
That night, I wept in the bathroom so the children wouldn't hear. I started selling my gold, the dowry my parents had given me to pay off his debts. Ten years passed amidst the same old promises. I'll change. But he would always go back to his old ways. There were nights when he lost at gambling, came home and took all his anger out on me. Yet, the most painful thing wasn't the physical wounds. Yet, the most painful thing wasn't the physical wounds. It was the look in my children's eyes. Once, after witnessing their father hit me, my young child ran over, hugged me, and asked, "Mommy, when will you stop being afraid of Daddy?" I couldn't answer. That question kept me awake all night. I looked at my two sleeping children and for the first time asked myself, if I stay, am I protecting them or am I teaching them? That a woman must endure violence to keep a family together? The next day, I began to seriously consider divorce. I didn't tell my husband. I quietly looked into the paperwork, prepared my finances, and sought help from relatives. I was afraid of hurting my parents. I was afraid my children would blame me. But for the first time in 10 years, I feared something else even more. I feared dying in this marriage without ever having truly lived for myself. The day I decided to sign the divorce papers, my hand trembled so much I could barely hold the pen. I stared at my signature for a long time. "10 years. Just a single stroke of the pen, yet it felt like closing the book on an entire life. When my husband found out I wanted a divorce, he flew into a rage. He made threats, I simply said, I spent 10 years trying to save this marriage. Now, I want to save myself and my children. I left that house with nothing, starting over from scratch. Yet, strangely enough, for the first time, I felt rich. Because I had freedom. I had my children by my side. And I had the chance to start over. The first few months after the divorce were incredibly hard. I had to work longer hours. I had to learn how to make decisions on my own. There were nights when I was so exhausted I just wanted to cry. But then I would look at my 2 children sleeping peacefully. No longer startled awake by the sound of the door opening in the middle of the night. I knew I had made the right choice. Two years later, my life had gradually stabilized. I hadn't become a wealthy woman. My life wasn't perfect either. But I had peaceful evenings. And meals shared without the sound of arguments. There are days now when my child laughs without having
Ăn dày mới ngon.
to gauge their father's mood. And most importantly, I have found myself again. After 10 years, I finally understood one thing. Marriage is not a place where one person must sacrifice. Themselves just to give the other the right to hurt them. Forgiveness is a good thing. But forgiveness does not mean allowing someone to inflict the same hurt over and over again. Family is important. But a family is only truly meaningful when its members live in a non-environment of love, respect, and safety. If you are in a marriage like the one I experienced, do not think you have to endure it forever, simply for the sake of... Do not think you have to endure it forever, simply for the sake of... Do not wait until your children are grown.
Mỗi khi tắm thấy cái vết điểm điểm mà làm gì.
Mẹ ở thằng treo lên ai tắm nữa.
Do not wait until you are completely exhausted. And do not view divorce as a failure. Sometimes, leaving an unhappy marriage isn't about breaking up a family. It is about saving the people within it. It took me 10 years to realize that. But I hope you won't have to spend 10 years doing the same.